And he turns to Chunda and he says, "What is this? Why does he walk with 3 legs?" "Oh, well, Siddhartha, this is an old man." "What's that? What is that?" He says, well, this is old age. Everybody gets old." Buddha says, Siddhartha says, "Will I get old?" "Yeah, you're going to get old." "Will my parents get old?" "Yes, parents will get old." "Will my wife get old?" "Yep, totally." This overwhelms Siddhartha, and he asks to go back to the castle. Thinks about it all evening, and then as the sun rises, he asks Chunda to sneak him out of the castle again, and next he sees a sick person lying on the road. And he says, "What is this?" He said, "Well, this is sickness. That person is ill." "Well, what is that?" "Well, this is something that comes to everybody." And again, Siddhartha asks, "To me, to my parents, my wife?" "Yes, to all of them." Again, he goes back to the castle and comes back the next day. This time he sees a dead person on the side of the road. He asks Chunda, "Is the person sleeping?" "No, master, he is dead." "What is death?" Buddha's not seen death before. At this point, he said, "Siddhartha, he's not Buddha, but he's not seen death before." So Chunda explains this is the cessation of life. This is when the bodily processes cease and the body falls apart, like an old heart. This is profound in causing Siddhartha to feel true lament like he's never known before, because he realizes without asking that means that he will die, that his mother and father will die, that his wife will die, that every being dies. Doesn't know how to deal with this. On the way back to the castle, he sees a holy man, a shramana, a wanderer, a home leaver. And he looks very serene, calm, as he sits on a rock. The Buddha asks Chunda, "What is this?" He says, "Well, that is a mendicant. That is someone who is attempting to find the nature of the universe and the source of all life and suffering." As the Buddha goes back to his castle, he can't help but think about this. His wife is pregnant with their very first child. And though the Buddha knows that his responsibility as a good prince, his son, and future ruler, is to stay in the castle, become king, raise his child, help his wife. But the Buddha realizes that though that may be wonderful for him, it does nothing to help all sentient beings, who are all going to suffer the same thing that he will eventually anyways, whether or not he has a good life or a bad. So he makes a difficult decision. He knows that if he holds his own child in his arms, that the love of a father will be so great that he would never be able to leave. And as painful as it may be, if he doesn't leave that very night to pursue the path to find a way to save all sentient beings, all thinking and feeling beings, he will not be able to do it in this particular lifetime. And he decides to sacrifice his own life, his own happiness, for the benefit of all sentient beings to find the way. So he does. He asks Chunda to take him outside the walls of the castle. He frees his horse. He takes his sword. He cuts his top knot off. He gives his sword and clothing to Chunda and frees Chunda from his service. He puts on the white of the shramana and he proceeds out on his path. And so this is the place that we all come initially as practitioners of Buddhism. We've all symbolically come, and opened ourselves to the simplicity of the teaching of Buddhism because we're hungry to find the answer. Why am I dissatisfied? Why am I here? What is the purpose? This is the same place the Buddha comes. So imagine on that day, giving up everything you've ever known and loved in order to follow a path that you don't know what the destination is. You don't even know the method that you'll use. The Buddha ends up coming to the first of several gurus that he studies with, and does a fantastic job. The Buddha's a virtuoso at just about everything that he did. But he realizes at the end of the first teacher, I'm no closer to where I'm going. He goes to another teacher, realizes again, at the end of his training with them, that I am no further or closer to my goal. The Buddha went from one extreme of having everything as a prince to going to the other extreme to having nothing as a shramana. He was the most aesthetic of aesthetics, living on a single grain of rice a day, emaciating himself to the point where he was just skin and bones. And although he could sit hours and hours and hours of meditation, he realized like he hadn't conquered the one thing that he needed to conquer, which was mind, his own mind. He was no closer to understanding the nature of that after 6 years of ascetic training than he was before. He was just closer to death. He starts to awaken. And this is kind of where we all have to come to. We all kind of have to hit rock bottom before we're open enough to say, okay, universe, let me have it. That point at which we no longer depend on others to tell us what to do. That we take responsibility for ourselves. Because in the end, even on the Buddha's deathbed, he came and gave us the same exact revelation. You're a light unto yourself. You're your own salvation. You can be led and taught, but you have to do the work yourself. And what the Buddha first understood was that all life is dissatisfaction. Always going to be dissatisfied by something. It is inevitable. And that we don't, as Buddhists, judge good and bad. We just accept things as they are. That dissatisfaction that we all inherently have as human beings is also the amazing drive and fire that pushes us over the next river, the next mountain, the next stream, the next country, the next ocean. It's what keeps us going. It's why we keep striving, but it's also the source of our suffering as well. So what the Buddha realized is that we needed a method to awaken to things as they are. That method has evolved over 2,800 years. Does it look exactly like the method that the Buddha taught initially? No, because the Buddha taught based on the people and the culture and the place and the time that he was at. And in the preaching of Buddhism, the Buddha even taught that Buddhism itself would go through a series of stages and change in and of its own self. We live in the 21st century. We don't have the time or the patience as a society, as humanity, that we did 2,800 years ago. Simultaneous to the teaching of monastic Buddhism was taught lay Buddhism, Buddhism for everyday people, people that couldn't renounce everything and go into a monastery. That is the foundational element of Mahayana Buddhism, big boat Buddhism, that anyone can practice. And why do we have all of these practices? And it's really to show you that anything that does not last, that has no inherent stability, is not worth putting your faith into, because if you do, you'll find suffering. And because all things are in flux and in change, there's not really much that you can hold on to except this basic concept of the Dharma, of the law, that all beings have the infinite capacity to awaken to the nature of the universe just as it is, to reach their highest potential, not for themselves, but for the benefit of others. That the reason that we practice the relentless pursuit of self-betterment is not for ourselves, but to be of service and benefit to others. And so in the end, suffering is not that we die, get sick, and get old. Suffering is not having the basic teaching that these are inevitable. This is part of what it means to be a human being. And that is not a negative thing. Because in the end, we live on through our impact and service to other beings. We can live forever by setting into motion positive energy, being of service to other beings. We can see it in this temple already. We can see future generations that will go out and help others. Because in the end, the mission of this temple is the mission of the Bodhisattva. We are not here to create more Buddhists and followers. We are here to create more leaders, to go out there on the earth and teach teachers, to go out and teach, to lead, to save. Save not in the sense of Christian save, but save in the Buddhist sense of save by allowing people to save themselves, thereby giving them the capacity to save other beings. Even if it's just a kind word, a reminder that this too shall pass. So when we're practicing this week, realize that you're not practicing just for yourself. This practice is for every sentient being. That when we chant, that vibration is a beautiful vibration that helps to kind of harmonize the universe around us, the world around us. It realigns. I mean, we can go into all this physics and I can go into like faith and esoteric nature and dogma and all of this, but our belief at its core is that just by chanting out loud, we're connecting to the environment around us, we're connecting to the people around us, we're celebrating the Buddha nature and everything around us, and we're actually changing the universe to be more in line with the Dharma, to make more Buddhas. We walk the streets chanting. We drive the roads chanting, because the belief is that just by having that vibration out there, it's going to start changing stuff. It's going to change the attitudes of our neighborhoods. It's going to change the attitudes of the people around us. You don't have to go knocking on doors. Say hi if someone like me doesn't have Buddha. You don't have to do that. Just chant, and dedicate all of your merit to all sentient beings, and do it every day. You don't have to do it for hours. Do it for 10 minutes, but do it every day, because it's what's going to make you a Buddha. And it's what's going to help you make more Buddhas. So, what should I do about this today? At the prayer, I will be inserting the names of those in sickness and distress and those in the morning. Please sit comfortably on the edge of your chair. Nathan, if you'll push the gray thing out, you can push your feet flat. Try to line your legs straight with your thighs and your shins making a 90-degree angle, sitting close towards the front of your chair. Roll your shoulders back, let your shoulders and your arms hang. Just naturally bring them into your lap. Right hand, left hand, thumbs lightly touching, tongue in the roof of your mouth. Breathing in through your nose, through your diaphragm, your tantin or your hara. Pull your chin in slightly, but not so much that you feel like it's It's hurting the back of your neck. It's sort of in, and then let it off a little bit. Allow your eyes to be Inzan no Metsuke, far mountain gazing. Keep your eyes open, don't close them. The reason is because we don't move through life with our eyes closed. Also, we come through our practice of Tendai Buddhism, we come from the Rinzai sect of Zen Buddhism as well. In that style, we keep our eyes open and always gaze out at the world. Tongue in the roof of the mouth. Right, hi. Please place your hands in your shoulder. Dojo Kan, receiving the dojo. Know this place in which we find ourselves now is a dojo, a place of Buddhist training. All Buddhists come to this place and attain perfect enlightenment. All Buddhists come to this place and turn the wheel of the Dharma. All Buddhists come to this place and enter into Nirvana. Om Mon Sanki, the three treasures. It is difficult to be born as a human being. I have now realized such a birth. To hear the teaching of the Buddha is difficult. I have now been able to hear it. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Namu Please place your hands in Hokai Join, Cosmic Realm Mudra. We will begin Joshinyo, calming meditation, to center and calm the mind and body so that we can chant the old I Am. yo. How's it going? Good job. Jin Shin awareness meditation. Silent meditation to feel the sublime dharma of the old Daimoku and the preciousness of life. Echo. I respect you deeply. You will all be able to practice the way Bodhisattvas and become Buddhas. May the merits we have accumulated by this offering be distributed among all living beings, and may we and all other living beings attain the enlightenment of the Buddha. We remember those today in sickness and distress. Remember Issa Simmons and Carmen Laverne, Amy Reddick and Wendy Prevost, Jason Wellman and Jesse Schaefer, Lotus Meshi and David Mills, Gail Bull and Dave Watson, Beth Watson, Gabe Benitez, Victoria, Jesse Travis Burnham, Dawn Robinson, Jamie Logan, Dennis Sullivan, Pat Sullivan, Saskia Eller, Julie Rose, Dahlia Bob Ritchie, Eric Lynn Hilsman, Michael Dean Ritchie, Linda Williams, Sam Phillips, Elena Hefner, John H. Shope, Aunt Margie Banuski, Bill Maston, Uncle Martin, Ruby Callahan Day, Jessica, Kelly Guldani, Chuck Keeshan Kazmarski, and Cindy Smith. We also remember those who have passed in memoriam. We remember Amy and Maria Valentin, Jean Knopf, Julia Petrikowski, Cheryl Sissy Jones, Stella the dog, Maggie Herman, Ming Chi, Scoop and Shay, Elaine and Joe Winter, Jack Parker, Terry Paquin, Bill Mears, Aunt Barbara, Kazuko Jordan, Cheryl Cushman, Patrick Scanlon, Don Robinson's husband, Mother Coleman, Phyllis Stevens, Robert Rose, Maurice Sprague, Jared Lovejoy, Brisa Pilatus, Rebecca Marsubian, Jake Marsubian, Aunt Paula, her husband, Jim, and as well as the Banuski family for their loss, Danson Kala, Maria, Katasha Spencer, Peter Schenk, and James Smokey Robinson. Thank you all very much. Wonderful chanting today.
Hoshi, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
How do those of us seated correctly do Rai?
Yep. You don't have to go to 90 degrees. It's just a reverent sign of salutation.
I've got a couple of quick announcements.
Yes.
One is that, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 weeks away, but it's coming up, our annual meeting of temple voting members, where we vote on a couple of resolutions and talk about the future, 2017 future of the temple, and vote on the budget of that. That is coming up on Sunday, March 26th. So it's a Sunday immediately after Oban. Our Oban celebration is going to be that preceding Sunday, which I want to say is the 19th or the 20th. So Oban is essentially the spring equinox. So we have the spring and the fall equinox. So Oban's coming up in a couple of weeks. And then the immediately following week on March 26th is the annual temple meeting. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was that, my my little, I don't even know what it's called, but the little wish thing for the new year is kind of lonely up there. So on the left of the altar, there are little wooden things for the new year.
They're called Emma,
Emma.
E-M-A, Emma. And they are wishes for good luck for the new year. And so we can give you a marker and you make a donation. We ask if possible if you can make a $5 donation. And then we hang these up for the whole year and you put your wish or your aspiration for the new year. And then we hang it up. And then at the end of the year, we take them with our other used items that are of religious nature, and then we burn them in a special ceremony, releasing all of the energy and such that have been put into them. And so we have two different ones this year. We've got this one, this Emma with the full-grown rooster with the arrow in its mouth and the bell, which is symbolic of good luck. And then we also have one of the little chickpea.
That one.
Yes.
Cool.
We have these in case anyone wishes, and then let's all say goodbye to the people at home. And thank you for joining us today. And we'll clean up and take our picture for the day, and then we'll have lunch for those that can stay for lunch. Also, we have an Aikido class after lunch. So.